And then that will absolve me of the curse of the controller. Can I fix this Turbo Touch 360 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. We're gonna see if we can fix this thing, but first we need to talk about why it needs fixing in the first place. You see, I started my retro gaming console collection a couple of years ago, and as part of the acquiring of different consoles, they came with some extra stuff. Now, when I bought this Super Nintendo, it came with this Turbo Touch 360 controller. Now that's a okay controller, but it's kind of gimmicky and it's something that I never really used. So recently I was just trying to get rid of some of my collectional items that I just am not using and I don't really need around. This Turbo Touch 360 obviously is one of those such things. Now I put it for sale on Facebook Marketplace and somebody came and bought it for 10 Canadian dollars. That's like $3 US. It was listed as a retro controller, original. It's at least 30 years old. It's been through some things. It's probably never been opened and never cleaned. Now, I assumed that somebody buying such a contraption for such a cheap price would understand that, you know, it's not mint. But I was surprised when a few days later, the individual who bought it reached out back to me and said, "Hey, the X button's broken. When can I bring this back?" And I was perplexed by this. Number one, that he thought that it was a perfectly functional controller for $10. And number two, that he thought I was Walmart and accepted returns. Now, I never guaranteed that it worked. I never claimed that it worked in the ad. This opens a question for me. At what point do we have an obligation to protect idiots from being an idiot? Now, I'm gonna say that this guy is genuinely an idiot. He did not ask any questions. He didn't say, does it work? He didn't say, hey, does the X button work? He just said, hey, I'll take this. When can I pick it up? He did not ask if we could test it before he took it. He didn't ask anything. Now, maybe he made an assumption that it just worked and that I was, you know, a trusting looking individual, and that if it didn't work, certainly he could bring it back. So now I have a question, like, do I have an obligation to protect this guy from himself? Now you can see that I have the controller back. Interestingly enough, a few days ago, my camera said someone was here and a bag was left at my front door. And I went and grabbed that bag, and wouldn't you know, the controller's in the bag and a card that says, "Merry Christmas, I hope that $10 treats you well." Now that creates another problem for me because I tend to live my life in a karma-based interactional exchange, which means you do good things for others, you expect nothing in return. I thought he was getting a fair deal for that $10, and he didn't feel so. So the fact that he got to keep the controller and do what he wanted with it, that's up to him, and I felt okay with that. But now that he's put it back into my hands and I still have his $10, I kind of have this upset. There's a disturbance in the force, which makes this controller, in my opinion, this thing is now cursed. He has put a hex on this controller, and if I leave it in my house, I now have bad things that can be expected. So I don't want it here. But I can't just sell it to someone else, and I'm not giving him his money back because out of principle, he is an idiot for thinking that it should work. But can I fix the controller and then I'm gonna give it back to him? I'm gonna reach out to him and say, hey, your controller works now. If you want it still, you can have it back. And then that will absolve me of the curse of the controller. So the first thing I gotta do is test it, see if it's actually broken. Maybe there's something wrong with his system and it's not registering the button pushes, because I don't remember it not working. So I'm gonna jump over here, I'm going to plug it in and test it, and then we'll see if it needs a cleaning. I'm thinking just a good cleaning is gonna fix it, but we're gonna find out if we can figure out what's wrong with this thing. So we've got our Super Nintendo hooked up. I'm gonna plug this in, and we're just gonna see what works and what doesn't. So first off, up and down's working okay. We're gonna go select game, and I'm gonna go to S. I'm gonna load up Super Mario World, if I've got it. Super Mario World, USA. I don't know the difference between these two, but let's try that one. The reason I'm gonna use Super Mario World is I know that it uses all of the buttons, so I'll be able to test it very, very quickly and easily and just make sure that everything works. If it does work, then I'm truly gonna be perplexed. And here we go, Nintendo presents Super Mario World. So we'll just do a single player game. Gonna load it up. We're gonna test our buttons here. And there we go. Okay, so I know left and right was already working, but we need to go into a game. So I'll go over to this guy. And then we're just gonna try all of our buttons. Okay, so up definitely works. Down definitely works, left works, right works. Now maybe that's why, oh, did I not? Oh, okay, there we go. So R1 is working now. I thought we used X and Y. Maybe I always thought that they worked. But I never played a game that used it. So let's try a different game. What game is going to use X and Y? Mortal Kombat definitely will. So let's see if we've got Mortal Kombat on here. So everything I said about Super Mario World using all of the buttons, total lie. Or X and Y don't actually work. And that would explain why I never found out, because I only play Super Mario World on my Nintendo. Now I'm not really very good at Mortal Kombat, so we're gonna do a 2-player mode, if it'll let us, without the other controller, so that I can just test the buttons without having a computer player totally beating the crap out of me. So we already know all the buttons work because we tested it with Super Mario, except for, who do I want to use? Sonia. The Y and the X. Now will it let me? Novice? That's my destiny for sure. Okay, now if I push these buttons, I think he's right. So Y is working, X doesn't work. Now if I turn on turbo for X, it also doesn't work. So, and it won't even let me pull a second player in. X is definitely not working. When I push X, nothing's happening. No matter how many times I push it, every other button seems to work. Like that. Wait, you can't pause it? Why can't you pause? I thought you could pause this game. So now it's time to pull it apart and see if we can fix it. To perform this cleaning, we're gonna use 3 things. We're gonna use my favorite toothbrush. We're gonna use some isopropyl alcohol. Now this is 70%. Why do I have 70%? And I changed my mind. I don't even know why I have 70% in here, but I've got some 99.9%. This is the stuff you really want. So we're gonna put this away. So that is not what you want. You want 99.9% alcohol. And we're gonna use a Phillips screwdriver to open this up. And the first thing we're gonna do is just open this up, really. I think it just needs a good cleaning. And these screws are actually bigger than I thought. So we're gonna use a bigger screwdriver for this. And there we go. I don't think we need to go in any further, but I'm going to anyway. Oh, of course, and then there's more screws underneath. 'Cause why not? Looking at the inside here, there is a ton of chips and little microprocessors and capacitors on the bottom side. Now, one thing I like to do is the smell test. It's possible a capacitor is bad. Now, a lot of you at home are sitting here laughing right now because you think I'm an idiot, but the smell test is a very legit test. So the bottom seems fine. I'm not gonna do much down there. This part's the part that I wanna clean off. So we're gonna get some of this, and all we're gonna do is dip my toothbrush in here, get it coated in this stuff, and then scrub all of the electronics here. Now there's probably nothing special going on in here right now, but this will just make sure that we're not getting any contacts that are bridging or shorting out. Now the reason you want to use 99.9% isopropyl alcohol is that means that it's mostly alcohol and not water. So once it evaporates all off, you'll be left with a nice, clean electric circuit versus something that's now got water rusting on it. We're going to clean this pad off because it's kind of looking a little bit gross. And that's it for that. Now it's going to dry. Right now it's a little bit wet, but as the alcohol evaporates off, that'll totally dry up. So we're going to screw this back together in the 3 screw holes that we're holding it into position. So next step here are these pads. Now these will get oxidized. They'll get, somebody spilled water down there or juice or whatever, they'll get under those pads and they won't make contact. This is likely where the problem actually is. So we're gonna give these a good scrubbing with the isopropyl alcohol, and then I'm gonna show you guys a top secret trick that you can do. And while that's drying, we're gonna come over here, and all of the bottoms of these little buttons, they're gonna get a little cleaning with the alcohol as well, just in case they had that same juice that was potentially spilled on them. And our turbo buttons, oh, don't want to break them, which I'm doing right now, breaking them all. Okay, and then the bottom of this thing, we're gonna clean that as well, just to, it's some sort of a conductor material that should be clean. So we might as well, because I'm not even sure what this thing's supposed to do, but somehow it contacts these. Now the cleaning's pretty much done, but we want to do my special secret trick, and that is on the back side of this. Now this is just a regular gum eraser, and what you want to do is just use that eraser on these contact pads, like that. If there is anything on here that's making it not work, this is going to clean it off. It gets rid of any kind of oxidization, gets rid of all kinds of problems that you may not even see. So we're gonna just clean them all while we're here. Now, I'm gonna go back and give these a scrub as well. And I'll even give this a little bit of a eraser scrubbing because it seems like it needs it. It did work, but it wasn't super responsive. And then we'll give one last isopropyl cleaning just to make sure we're not got any eraser residue on there. Like that. Now we're gonna put the lid on here, and then we can put this guy back together, hopefully, and have it work. So ideally, I didn't break it any worse, and it's gonna work better. So we gotta put these, oh, did we clean the bottom of those? Those are our select and start buttons. We should give those a good little cleaning as well while we're at it. There we go. There's one like that, and there's one like that, and like that. That in place. Now our button here came out, so we're gonna put that back like that. And then I'm gonna have to lift this way into it. How do I hold this and hold that? Because as soon as this goes upside down, they're all gonna fall out. How they didn't fall out in the first place is beyond me. We'll give this a good. Now it's all put back together, and it's time to put it back into the system and see if it works. Now, unfortunately, our attempts to fix it did not work. I plugged it in, I tested it, and the X button is still not working. So it will need further testing. Now this controller, as I told you, I sold for $10. I've now spent an hour trying to fix it, and I am losing money if I spend any more time on this controller. So this is unfortunately going to become e-waste. It wasn't even worth $10 when allegedly someone thought it worked completely and fully. And now on to the question of karma. So you remember I said that he paid $10 and I have this cursed piece of equipment back in my hands. So I'm gonna do the right thing. I will be sending him his $10 back, and I'll be putting this in the garbage for recycling. And unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes. We can't fix everything all the times, and sometimes it's just not worth fixing. If you have a broken controller and you're looking to fix it, what we attempted to do here is always a good first step. A good cleaning usually will fix controllers that have issues, especially if they've been well used by children or adults who spill things a lot. In this case, it didn't work, but in your case, it might. So it's still worth trying to fix your broken old controller or your broken new ones. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. you can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.